You brought me back to this life, and I owe you a tremendous debt.
Please, it is enough of a reward to simply be in your presence. You owe us nothing.
Let me give you a piece of advice. Never refuse.
Never refuse a gift from someone who can swallow you whole, is what she was supposed to say. Welcome back, everyone! For this month, we are continuing with Guild Wars, and doing a quick retrospective of the game's first expansion, Factions. I'm going to skip the history and gameplay sections because I'm assuming you've already watched my Guild Wars Prophecies retrospective. Not much of the game has changed since I last played, but some of you in the comments have said ArenaNet have no plans of shutting down the game anytime soon, which is great to hear. There are a few things I want to mention, such as this confusing layout of the new map. I know, it's been a few years since I last played, but I completely forgot where to start. I used Harumi to get started, and even tried to play as her. However, I was stuck on the very first mission, mainly due to a lack of good ranger skills, and nobody had any runes attached to their armor. Looking at the wiki page, there are some primary quests to show you where to go, but also add little bits of the story, which becomes an issue when hopping from mission to mission. The story feels abrupt. There's no time to get invested or understand what is going on, or should it matter to take the time to understand? Like, who are each of these ghostly envoys and what do they do? What was special about Shiro before these events? Master Togo seems like a nice guy, but I barely get to know him. They did make some good tweaks to the game, like before each mission they give you some advice on what to expect. They also have dialogue boxes at the top. Characters still talk during cutscenes, but during gameplay you'll have to read the text boxes. Only annoying thing about these is I hope you're a fast reader because sometimes they change really quick before I could even finish reading it. Alright, let's jump straight into this. Creating a new character in Factions will have you run through a tutorial to get familiar with the controls, and then ask if you want to continue and have it teach you about the game, or skip straight to the story and get to know Master Togo and discover this strange plague. Then investigate any clues as to what is causing it. If you decide to start with Prophecies or Nightfall, you will need to level up your character a bit, then a quest will pop up when you're in the correct city to tell you how to get to Cantha and begin the Faction expansion main story. For Harumi, you need to head to Lion's Arch. To receive a quest, talk to this guy, then head outside the city to talk to Menlo. Head back inside the city and talk to this lady to set sail to Cantha. Follow the quest markers to eventually find Vicuna Square to start the first mission. When you arrive, a cutscene will play of you and Menlo finding Master Togo trying to save some innocent people from the afflicted.
Master Togo is down there, and he's in trouble.
What are we going to do?
Well, I don't know about you, but I didn't come all the way from Lion's Arch for a funeral.
Then it looks like we watch a flashback. This is our villain, Shiro. He is approached by a fortune teller. He waves her off, but then finds some gold in a bucket and turns around. Talking to guardsman Chow, he says Master Togo is nearby and this plague is more of a problem than they thought. First, you need to take out some enemies called the Am-Fa, then meet up with Master Togo and some henchmen. Take out the afflicted in the area to trigger a cutscene. Togo is happy to see Menlo, but they get attacked by more afflicted. Take out all the groups that spawn from this broken up wooden area. Keep in mind the afflicted do explode when they die, so melee fighters need to watch out. Once they're all dead, Togo says this district has been overrun with the plague, but all the others have been spared for some reason. Follow Togo and take out more of the afflicted, as well as the Am-Fa group. I have no idea who this group is, and they also barely get mentioned. They're taking advantage of the chaos the plague has created. Get to the next horde-like area and defend it from waves of afflicted. Just need to keep Togo and Menlo alive. Togo says on the Faction Starter Island they investigated a temple where the plague emanated from, and it had the mark of Shiro Tagachi. All Togo tells us about this Shiro guy is he killed the Emperor 200 years ago, who he swore to protect. Menlo thinks that the evil spirits are causing this plague. If Shiro has returned, then that might be the reason for this plague. Continue following Togo and get to a third holdout area. This one is pretty tough, so make sure you are on full health and energy before fighting. Harumi's group barely survived, but Domkis and his group were able to easily defeat all the waves and keep everyone alive. Togo can sense an evil spirit is near. He begins to think the spirit of Shiro may have indeed somehow returned. He wonders why Shiro is in this part of the city. Menlo says this area is full of bookstores containing all sorts of magic and religious text from across the world. Togo believes Shiro must be looking for something, so we head out again and follow Togo down this linear path, fight some more enemies, then fight a construct of Shiro to finish the mission. Overall, it's a fun, decent mission. A cutscene plays of Shiro appearing as a spirit, but he one-shots all of us. Then we get to see other spirits called envoys that talk amongst themselves. They believe they should intervene to try and stop Shiro. He was supposed to help guide the spirits from the mortal world to the mists. He hasn't been doing that job anymore, so the envoys decide to revive us. But it comes at a price. We have to help them defeat Shiro. We need to go find someone named Soon, the Oracle of the Mists. He will show us how to become closer to the stars, which we need to do because it will help us see Shiro. Next mission, the cutscene, is our group meeting up with Soon. He is the Oracle of the Mists. When we try to talk, he will interrupt us and fixes our sentences and give us answers. He talks about these 4 avatar spirits that we need to defeat. You can talk with Adapt Nai, who says we are about to commune with the spirits and become Wei no Su, closer to the stars. This will allow us to fight Shiro. Pick a portal to get started. You'll fight some small and easy groups of star sentinels. You have the option to decide which bosses you want to defeat first. The twist for this mission is after you defeat a boss, smaller versions of that boss spawn throughout the map. Now fighting your way to the next boss becomes just a little bit harder. After defeating 3 bosses, you need to be careful when fighting groups. Make sure your group is topped off in health and energy before fighting the next big group. I never had any close calls or felt it was difficult, but overall, I still would say this was a really good idea to have the player decide when they want to fight each boss. We meet back up with Soon, who apologizes for his behavior towards us and lets us know how he feels about the ministry. Then we watch this couple get surrounded by afflicted and are killed. Shiro arrives and raises their spirits and tells them they are now his soldiers.
You will do whatever I tell you. Kneel. Bow before your new master.
Next mission, Shiro talks with another spirit called Vizu. She was the one that killed Shiro long ago. They fight each other and it seems like Shiro is besting her. She points out she can't die because she's already dead, but he wants to force her to be his ally. So she runs away and Shiro gives chase. Later on, we arrive and Togo says Vizu's spirit is nearby. This mission is straightforward. Defeat 8 bosses. There are a few extra enemies in each group, but at least we have Master Menlo and Togo with us for extra healing and damage. There is a timer to worry about, but I had more than enough time to defeat all the bosses before that countdown was ever close to finishing. The map is very linear. Just follow the path to each boss and take out the enemy groups and then the final boss. Overall, a fun, straightforward mission. We begin talking with Vizu. She first mentions the Emperor spoke of Master Togo, and he is the half-brother to the current Emperor. Togo asks how they can beat Shiro. She says she did not strike Shiro down, but her blade did pierce him, causing the tide of the battle to turn. She basically says there are 2 items we need to collect to help us defeat Shiro in battle. One is with a faction called the Luxons. They have a spear. The other faction, the Kurziks, have an urn that can be used to shield us. Both weapons have the spirit of the 2 champions that defeated Shiro. With them, we should be strong enough to defeat Shiro. We then continue seeing the past, where Shiro goes back to the fortune teller and asks her what she sees in his future. She says the Emperor is watching him, sees all he has done, He will soon be rewarded. Then we cut to the Emperor thanking Shiro at the palace and says Shiro has done great work and now wants him to serve as his personal bodyguard. Now, you're probably thinking the next mission must be here, but it's not. And I made that mistake when I tried and suddenly I already had the items. Turns out you need to head out and find these two outposts to get started with finding the urn and the spear. Next mission I did was Arborstone. The cutscene shows Domkis and Menlo arriving to meet with the Kurziks. They remember Menlo and quickly ask why he's here. He asks them for the urn and tells them Shiro has returned. They understand and tell him where it is, a cathedral that has been overrun with great beasts. I sure hope it's not a haunted cathedral with an eye. The Count also sends his daughter Danica with us to assist in getting the urn. Start off with taking out these Warden of the Spirits. Then follow the path to the cathedral. Luckily, Danica knows the Unlock the Doors spell. Then head in and take out all the enemies. Grab the urn to trigger a cutscene. The cathedral then begins to fall apart. We tried to make a run for the way we came in, but Menlo was the only one to make it outside in time. Our group and Danica are trapped, and now we need to find another way out. More enemies spawn in, so take them out, then head over here and fight these creatures. You can drop the urn, and after a few seconds it will put up a shield on everyone within the area around it. As you make your way to the exit, at random intervals everyone takes damage from falling rocks. So keep putting that shield up for your whole party. Keep going and you'll fight a boss and a bunch of enemies will spawn during the fight. Overall, it honestly wasn't that difficult and felt like a decent mission. Danica opens the doors and closes it behind us. We then follow her outside. Next mission, we arrive with Master Togo and he says we need to find Elder Rhea. She will tell us how to get the Spear of Archimoris. We meet up with Rhea and after they greet each other, Togo asks if they can have the spear. Unfortunately, she can't just give it to us because once a year, all the Luxon clans come together to compete to see who has the best clan of warriors. They then give the spear to that group and they head out to Zanhanuku, a great magical kraken. Togo tries to ask one more time, but she says the convocation is today, so we will have to compete in order to get the spear. First, we fight 3 separate groups. Nothing special about it, just take out each one, then we get rewarded with the spear. We take it out to the Jade Sea to fight the Kraken. When holding the spear, each time an enemy dies nearby, it will get stronger. When you drop it, after a couple seconds, it will damage enemies near it. The more stacks, the more damage, but it only goes up to 5 stacks. Just follow the linear path until you get to this open area. There are some strange looking creatures, but you just need to get here, fight some enemies, and the Kraken will show itself. Kill it and you win. Overall, another simple, straightforward mission. Menlo arrives and tells us Shiro is on the move in the Undercity, so we take the spear with us back to the city. Next mission, in the cutscene, we head over and find a bridge, and the camera shows us where we are heading. We see an orb with a line going somewhere, then 4 other lines connect to this one orb. We then see Shiro, who knows we are coming, then floats up into the orb. We head out and take the urn and spear with us. Since it's just me, I would only take the urn because that shield is very useful and easier to use than the spear. Continue down the path until you come across one of the orbs. Take out the spirit, maintaining it. Now we need to follow the lines to the other 3 and take them out. I first took the path to the left. However, I think I encountered too many groups at once because before I know it, my party was slowly dying off. So I did a quick restart, and this time I tried going to my other left. When I got to the first orb, things seemed like normal, but I guess we were still taking on too many enemies because Laura and Ogden died really fast. So 3rd time's the charm, I guess. Well, this time I was much more careful and did some crowd control by pulling enemies and dragging them away from the other groups. Finally, I was able to defeat this group, then moved on to the other 2 and was just really careful not to pull too many enemies. Once all 4 orbs are down, a cutscene plays of us heading to the middle and confront Shiro. He raises the bridges and closes all the gates, so we cannot escape. He doesn't say anything and just possesses this warrior construct. Well, just like I learned, no reason to force ourselves to fight all 4 at once. Just fight each construct on their own to finish this mission. Overall, it was a tough challenge, reminding me not to fight too many enemies. Menlo asks if Shiro is finally gone. Togo isn't sure. The envoys appear and say he is gone for now, but he will return. In the meantime, we should get the Luxons and the Kurziks to stop fighting and join together to help us defeat Shiro when he returns. We then get another flashback. The fortune teller tells Shiro the Emperor will have him killed. Out of fear, Shiro strikes a mortal blow on her. She says to be aware of the harvest ceremony. Now comes the annoying part. From here, as a new player, you will need to pick a side and do daily quests for one of them until you get 10,000 reputation. I only ever did the repeatable quest, which took me about a week to finish. However, I later found a list of quests you can do which can get you up to 8,500. Or if you can access hard mode and just start vanquishing an area like Mount Quinkai, it should only take you less than 25 minutes to hit that 10,000k, according to the wiki. I chose the Luxons, and after spending just over a week, I finally completed this quest. Next mission, if you chose the Luxons, will be Gaila Hatchery. We need to help escort some young turtles to a safer location. This mission is actually pretty interesting. In the cutscene, we are told to watch out for the Kurzik's juggernauts. They will flip the siege turtles on their side, which disables them and makes them take more damage. Now, the goal is to keep at least one young turtle alive. First, you want to grab a smoke canister from Petrus. Wherever you put this, the siege turtles will bombard it. It does good damage and knocks down enemies. Don't worry, it doesn't harm you or your allies. Stay close, and when the first wave arrives, place it in the middle of the turtles to stun and damage the enemies fast. As you move forward, I would recommend dropping the smoke can here, then run up here to take out these rangers. I lost all the turtles because of it. The second time through, I was lucky to only lose one turtle. Luckily, after this part, it gets easier. I run up ahead and take out the next group. As I run back, I arrive just in time to save the turtles. I did the same thing again by running up ahead, taking out a group, then hurrying back to protect the turtles. As I waited for the convoy, I really had to use the bathroom. So I assumed they were coming this way, so I ran ahead for a third time, and yet again, a third wave surprised me and ambushed the group. But I was able to hurry back in time to stop it. I thought that was the end of this mission, so I went inside, and when the cutscene triggered, I ran to the bathroom, not knowing this wasn't the end yet. The Luxons and Kurziks have a massive battle, but it looks like the Luxons have won. The Kurziks try to retreat, but get trapped between the Luxons and a gate with Afflicted on the other side breaking in. One Luxon says, "We need to save the Kurziks because they will just turn into the Afflicted and then the Luxons will have twice the problem to deal with." So they tell the Kurziks to get behind them and help them fend off the Afflicted. I'm really sorry you guys don't get to see the battle, since I'm using the bathroom. When I finally came back, I was surprised to see the mission still going on, but I was able to finish off the Inflicted to finally win. Overall, this was another tough but still fun and unique mission to play. The Luxons are trying to decide what to do with the Kurzik prisoners. Togo arrives to tell them they must ally together in order to fight the Afflicted. They don't believe at first Shiro has returned, but convince them the Afflicted are a sign that he has indeed returned once again. I'm assuming the rep grind was a unique way to portray the passage of time. So with the Afflicted here, the Luxons then believe Shiro has returned and they are willing to put their hatred of the Kurziks aside and ally with them in order to defeat Shiro. Next mission, we see a vision of the harvest ceremony. Shiro and the Emperor arrive at a fortress. The Emperor suddenly changes his plans and just wants himself, his retinue, and his bodyguard Shiro to enter and nobody else. The temple guard is surprised by this, but allows it. You will notice Shiro is on edge about this. As they climb the long stairs, Shiro gets more and more paranoid about what is about to happen. What the fortune teller told him keeps repeating in his head about the Emperor is going to kill him. Shiro then decides to draw his blades and kill everyone. Our objective here is to defeat the dragon Kunavog for its power to stop Shiro. Elder Onyx tells you that it was their champion that came here to receive the power from the dragon to defeat Shiro. So off we go. This is probably the shortest mission. You need to take out the groups of afflicted while also slowly dealing damage to the dragon. You can't hit it with melee, so I had to rely on my allies to hurt it enough to cause it to retreat. Just keep after it and take out each group along the way. Try to interrupt corrupted dragon scales. That spell hurts your entire party a lot. All you need to do is destroy the scales on the ground. Eventually, you'll push it back to the structure in the center. A cutscene will play of your party arriving, and it looks like it's very angry and should be making a roar, but there's actually no sound coming out. Anyway, kill the dragon before it kills you. Take out the scales on the ground to stop taking lots of damage. Overall, a short but still fun mission. The dragon then speaks to us. It is relieved to be released from Shiro's grasp. The dragon says it will be happy to help us for freeing it. Now we wonder, what could Shiro be doing now? Domkis thinks Shiro is doing some research. Togo thinks he must be trying to cast a spell. Then the envoys show themselves and they tell us he's trying to cast a spell to bring himself back from the spirit world. They say Shiro only needs to spill the blood of the one who cursed him, or someone of that bloodline.
The Emperor!
Next mission, we obviously are too late. Shiro is already breaking into the palace with his army. The guards begin locking down the castle. A guard reports to the Emperor, but Shiro magically teleports over, takes out the guards, and then...
Do your worst. All in good time, Emperor. All in good time.
We then arrive through the gate with the dragon. She says the spirit army will be here soon, so some of our army will need to stay back and guard the gate. At the start, we need to pick 2 more allies to go with us. Would have been cool if we could bring more heroes with us for a party of 12. It's quite simple, just clear out the enemies in each room, then proceed to the next room. One of my allies will then head towards an orb. The gate will fall. I'm not sure what that meant, but now we are down an ally. So charge forward and head into the next room. This mini-boss just would not die. Continue on, and I decided to run towards one of these orbs, and after clearing the enemies in the area, nothing seemed to happen. It just felt like a waste of time. When you get to here, your other ally you chose will run off and get trapped. Just defeat the waves of enemies that come at you. Now we have to go through this gate on the left, head down the hallways and take out the groups of enemies to eventually get to this area with 3 mini-bosses. Oh man, I bet this will be a challenge. Not really. It was very easy. Overall, a simple and decent mission. The cutscene is Master Togo fights his way to the Emperor and jumps in front of the Emperor. I'm assuming, at least. It's really hard to tell with these animations. Then we all go inside of Shiro, which sounds really wrong. And Togo is down by the throne. Then it fades to black, and now I don't know where we are. Shiro realizes Togo is of the royal blood, either because of his spell or because the Emperor yelled out,
Brother, no!
Shiro kills him, and now he has returned. The final mission is simple. Defeat Shiro. How hard is that? Well, the fight starts off easy, but when he gets low on health, his Battle Scars ability begins to really hurt everyone near him. I think it's one of those abilities that deals more damage the less health he has. So if you can keep your party spread out, you should be fine. But I lost on the first attempt. Then on the second attempt, it looked like we won, but suddenly he gained a bunch of health back, which really pissed me off. But then I think I lucked out because he just stood there and didn't do anything, so I just finished him off. I wish I could be more of a helpful guide, but that's all I learned from my 2 fights with him. Then some NPCs come running in and turn Shiro's body into jade. His spirit jumps out of his body and he demands the envoys to release him. But they make it clear he has no power anymore and will suffer greatly in the underworld. The envoys thank us and look forward to the day when we get to join them in the afterlife.
Wait, what are you going to do to Shiro?
Let us worry about Shiro.
In conclusion, Guild Wars Factions is still a decently fun expansion. If you liked playing the first one, then this expansion is worth playing through, although it does feel quite short, and you can easily get through in a few hours. The faction gameplay I am curious about because it sounds like a fun PvP system, taking over territories in the southern part of the map. Let me know what that was like back in the day when most players were fighting for control. As for the characters, I would say Togo was the only memorable one. I mean, Shiro looks like a half-brother to Vegeta, but I didn't really think he was a great villain. I mean, sure, he kills us at one point, and that was a dick move, but after that, we barely get to interact with him, and he simply seems power-hungry, but for what? All we know is he killed the Emperor simply because he was paranoid from what a random fortune teller told him. Anyway, if you know my channel, then you already know what game I'm going to be playing next, and yes, it is a Thief fan-made campaign. See you next month. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. Please like and subscribe to help grow my channel, and comment below on what you thought. Check out my other videos and check me out on the Time Pals podcast. Links in the description. Thanks again, and I'll see you in the next video.